Okay, hey, welcome to another episode of Wisdom on the Front Porch, where your front porch can be anywhere, including a Zoom meeting like it is today. Doesn't have to just be the front part of your building, it can be even in a grocery store, anywhere you're sharing wisdom and knowledge with others. And today we have a really wonderful guest speaker. I'm so glad you're here. I don't get to talk with you very often. And before we get started, I have to do our sponsor for today is Barbecue for Life. They have the best barbecue. They're in Boise, Idaho, also Eagle, Idaho, and they have vegan. Now, if you're thinking vegan and barbecue, ooh, that's going to be weird. It's not. It is the best food. I am usually not a vegan eater, but oh man, they've got the best, the best. So let's get to our guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us just a little bit about what you do.
Awas, thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Junaid Ahmed, and I'm a home studio architect where I help entrepreneurs, podcasters, virtual speakers set up their home places so that they can show up with confidence and with authority on camera.
Excellent. Yeah. He helped me do a little bit with my structure back here. And I do want to do something different. I'm trying to think, how do I still get the books and the words and everything, but still make it more about the entrepreneur culture and the lifestyle that
Mhm.
is wisdom on the front porch. And so I've been going through a few ideas. Um, how important is it to have the studio set up? I mean, is it really that important? Don't, especially if you're just doing a podcast that's
Mhm.
audio, but I think a lot of us aren't just doing audio. I know I love doing the video. I love the
Yeah.
interaction and with
Mhm.
each other. So let me hear your words on that instead of mine.
Absolutely. So, yes, podcast started as a uh, audio platform only because the iPods, the Apple was putting out, and people could take the radio show with them. But they also had enabled video capability, and the earlier iPods actually had video capacity, but not a lot of people had the capability to record video and upload video, But now that we have these $1,000 smartphones that you can shoot video like literally anywhere, people are recording video everywhere on the go, video has become more and more prominent, especially during the pandemic. More and more people came out and started their podcast, started having these conversations because we were stuck in homes, and Zoom was an outlet for us to not only connect with other entrepreneurs, but also connect with other writers, other authors, other podcasters, other beekeepers, like you name it. People were going and flocking to Zoom to connect with other people. So video is important because not only is it the first impression that you give when people are looking at your video, but also it creates a sort of an authority. It builds confidence when you know that your video is dialed in and it's looking the best.
That's awesome. And it does, it makes a difference. I know a different platform that I was using before I got to this one talked about having, just a banner behind you, maybe a couple plants, some lighting, and it made a difference on how it
Mhm.
looked. And being in the home is great, but
Yeah.
I love your background, by the way. It's kind of blurred out, but it doesn't look like you're on this green screen where you're falling
Right.
out. Oh, I love that. That's my next step. Doing the sidewalk. Someone was helping me. A friend of mine was helping me with that. It's like, oh, we could do this. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you and I are going to talk more after this.
Of course.
But yeah. So um, how do people get a hold of you? I usually ask that at the end, but I think it's
Sure.
important for people to know how to get a hold of you and what to expect. Do they go to your website?
Absolutely. So there's multiple different ways that I work with people. I post a lot of content on social media under the handle Super Junaid. And then if people want to learn even more, they can go to my website, homestudiomaster.com. And I've also published a book
All right.
called Seven Stages of Home Studio Evolution. It's going to get you to understand, hey, what are the things that I need in my space to get started? And here's the best part, like I mentioned earlier, we all carry these smartphones in our pockets, and these things have anywhere from 3 to 4 cameras. Like
Oh,
literally, three
yeah.
cameras are built into these things, meaning that you can capture a lot of different type of photography and film and video on it. So why not use what you already have to practice the the practice your ability to give conversation or create conversation or have conversations or create content that's going to introduce people to who you are. An
Yes.
example that I love to give, let's say you're signing up for a marathon and the marathon is coming up in, let's say, 6 months or maybe a year. What's the first thing that you're going to do to prepare for that marathon? Well, first thing you're going to do is number one, you're going to join a community that are already running, people that are already out on the road running and practicing and getting good at that running. You're going to build those muscles. You're going to condition those muscles so that you can run that entire marathon. And that's the deal with setting up a studio. It's not about going and buying all of the gear, it's about working on yourself, working on the uh, muscle that helps you speak in front of the camera. It helps you tell your story. So, those are some of the things that I focus on. And that's where the book starts.
That's good. I grabbed my book because you have your book, and let's see if I can get it out of the glare and stuff here. There we go, and
You're
whatnot.
me.
So, what I am also doing, I have a second podcast that's called Meet the Author and the book. And what it's about is talking about your journey and your story behind the book.
Hmm.
Not only what it took to get the book written and that, but what your book's about, where the
Yeah,
inspiration came from and stuff. So yeah, if you want to be on that one, that would be good. And that's to let
absolutely.
our audience know that that's coming up. And
100%.
I think
I'd
it's
be,
called 52 plus new books because I'd like to introduce 52 books a year, but we can
I
maybe
love it.
squeeze a few more in there. And
No, I
that's
appreciate
fun.
the offer. I can't wait to, have another conversation with you.
Oh yeah, yeah, this is great. For those who don't know, we met through a different group, I guess, and just a lot of good conversations, a lot of good support. And that's the other thing is um I love how we can get together no matter what we do. Someone like if I were to come to you to get help getting my background. Maybe you would
Mhm.
say we'd get to talking about books. I mean, you're talking to me, you were going to talk about books. And so
Yeah,
there's more things. Maybe you've got another book coming up and can give you some pointers. And it's all about
hmm,
helping each other out.
absolutely.
The wonderful thing about entrepreneurs, even about other businesses, is helping each other out because when you help somebody else go forward, they're going to remember you and they're going to maybe recommend or refer you to somebody else and that's all about helping each other grow. So this is not about, no, this
100%.
is my company and I'm only going to make me grow and I'm going to be the millionaires and whatever. And too bad for you little people. I love it that in the entrepreneurial world, um, that it really is about working together and helping each other out. And I love you gave me what? You gave me a couple of pointers before we started today, and it was like I really appreciate that.
Ellis, when you said, about entrepreneurship and helping others, an entrepreneurship doesn't work without people.
Oh yeah,
A single person working on it is going to take them twice as long, maybe even three times longer to establish their business. But if they were to bring in people in the company, an operating officer, you got the financial officer, you got the marketing, because you yourself is the visionary. You're the chief executive visionary officer for that company, but you need other people because not everybody has the same brain capacity or capabilities, right? I lack
yes,
in the other departments. So I'm going to bring people and surround people in myself in my company so that we can all grow together. It's a team sport, right? That's
yeah,
why companies have
yes,
so many people, and that's why Amazon is a $1 trillion company because there's millions of people that are working together, and the the as people come together, the energy of the people is what brings the money and attracts the money. So, uh,
yeah,
well said. We got to work together. We got to help each other out because you will get everything that you want. And this is a Zig Ziglar quote. You can get everything that you want if you help enough people achieve what they need. Now, when you
Mm.
mentioned the book part, I'm actually working on. I have three books that are uh, almost complete manuscript right now, which are
Nice.
two books are focused on again home studio. What do you do with your studio once you have it set up? So, and it goes deeper. Or if you're an audio podcaster and going to a video podcast, what do you need? So I have like two books talking about those things, and then the other book, the third book, is all around conversations that I've had over the past 6 years with entrepreneurs on my podcast. And I'm
Oh,
bringing their
nice.
stories into book format. And
Oh,
yes,
awesome.
these conversations anywhere from, 7,000 to 8,000 words or, 40,000 characters, but nobody wants to read that. They want the bulk of the information, or they want the nuggets. They want the golden
Yeah.
nuggets. They want the diamonds. They want the jewels of the conversation. So I'm putting those in this book so it's easier to, uh, you know, understand and implement in your life and your entrepreneurship. So those are yeah, it's been a lot of fun putting those things together. And I see that, you've helped so many people publish their books and put all of these things together because that's something that you've enjoyed over time.
Oh, yeah. And I do. I enjoy it. I like the nitty-gritty, excuse me, the nitty-gritty part of it, with the books, doing the formatting, getting it lined up right. I find it a challenge, and that's part that a lot of people really struggle with because there's a lot there. For some reason, everybody has different gifts. That gets to be mine. And
Mm-hmm.
and I
Amen.
love it. But what I really like the most is the mindset that goes with it. Not
Yes.
necessarily changing anybody's mind, but encouraging them and being their cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
People who know me know, woo, that's me. I'm the cheerleader. But it's getting that inspiration for them and helping them to keep going and when it gets struggling, it's like that's okay because look, you're learning this and next time it's going to be so much easier for you.
Exactly.
And then finally getting to the point where they get that book, comes in the mail, and they're holding it in their hands, and there's just nothing like that feeling. It's well, I guess there could be things like that feeling, when you win a race or achieve something else. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal. But every time you see that book, or better yet, somebody says, "Hey, I saw your book here," or the other day I go to the veterinarian's office and there's my kid's book on Henrietta the Hutto Hippo. I mean, that
Nice.
was just spectacular. Somebody said, "Did you autograph it?" Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
That
that's wonderful.
absolutely. And what somebody told me, he's a book publisher himself, and he said a book will last a lot longer than a social media post.
Oh, yeah.
And it becomes your salesperson over time. In fact,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
interviewing yesterday on my podcast Damon Burton of the publisher behind Outrank. It's a book on SEO, and he said once I put the book out and I gave all of my tricks in this book, Outrank, right? And he said because of that book has so much value, I never have to run ads and never have to market because I have so much inbound leads coming in through that. In fact, he was able to give so much value to people that when somebody asked on social media, I think it was Perry Belcher, he asked, "Hey, who is the best SEO expert that you know?" Of the 100 comments on that message, 50 of them tagged Damon Burton.
Oh,
And
nice.
because of that tag, a marketing team from Tony Robbins reached out to them like, "Hey, we would like to work together."
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
So that's the power of a book, right? So
Yeah.
that's what makes it easy when you have a book out. So thank you for enabling other people to have long lasting legacies and things that they can use for a long time to
Oh,
go.
yeah. Because you need to do, that's one of the things, here we are talking about books. One of the things that happens, like you publish your book, so now what happens to it? Well, you want to keep it going. You want to keep it out in people's eyes
Hmm.
and so the more you can do that way, the better. And
Definitely.
it's your baby, I remember being in Clubhouse. Sounds like it was such a long time ago, and it really wasn't. But they were talking about, okay, now you've birthed the book. Now it's time to raise your baby. And it's talking
Yeah.
about marketing. Here you worked this hard, you got your book out finally, and now what do you do with it? And you can't just sit back and say, okay, I put my book on Amazon now, let the money roll in and let the reviews roll in. And it's like, doesn't work that way.
No, it
Um,
doesn't.
and there's a lot of things you can do in your book to keep the action going, to keep the audience engaged too. But that's in my course. I'm not going to give that one away for free.
I love it. Thank you, LS.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you. So tell us a little bit more about how you help people get their studio set up. You were talking about going from actually, I have something else I want to ask you first.
Hmm.
Why do you do this? What is your why?
Man, I like that question. The why behind it goes all the way back to 1989 when my uncle was like, "Hey, for $1," and it was we were celebrating Eid, and all of the kids were getting dollars from their uncles and aunts, and one of my uncles were like, "Hey, for one of these dollars, I'll give you this camera. It's a film camera. You can put a film in it." So that was my first camera. I was 11 years old, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so cool!" And so I was taking photos. So I've been behind camera for more than 30 years, and I've been able to capture stories, capture memories through this camera. And then over the years, went from analog cameras to film cameras to digital cameras to like cameras. So I've been behind camera all this time, and I'm just so I just get so lit up whenever I talk about technology and talk about these cameras. So when the pandemic hit, I was using my gear that I had acquired over the
Mhm.
years uh, into my studio space. And as I started setting it up, I had no idea because I was still selling people how to set up their websites, their logo design. That's my main expertise that I've cultivated over the past 20 years. And people started asking me, why is your image so much sharper? We're both on Zoom. Like, what's going on? So I started telling people, well, I'm using this camera, I have these kind of lightings, and I've toned it down, and I've set all these settings in such a way so that I know exactly, and I was able to do that because I have past experience with photography, understanding how cameras work, understanding what an f-stop is, or what a focal length is, or what a ISO is. Like, understanding all of those things, I can then dial everything in based on how much light's coming in to make sure that the talent in the shot. So you're the talent in the shot. You stand out in the space, and making sure that the lighting is dialed in, your microphone is right. So putting all of these variables together, because people will say, "Hey, I went and bought the most expensive camera, but I still don't look as good as you do." Like,
Yeah.
well, you didn't talk to me. So the
That's
way,
right. That's right.
so the
Well,
way
and
I work
look
people,
at
yeah,
your skin tone and your face and mine. I look like I've been out in the sun way too long, you know, and we'll just play with my lighting a little bit here. I mean, it's just changing all the time, no
yeah,
light, add some light,
yeah.
the different colors that you can do. I don't need that color, but it's like, yeah, I don't, and
So
then the
absolutely.
glasses with the reflection with the light. Sometimes you've got all these rings going on here.
Exactly. So there's a lot of different things that you want to look at, right? I'm also wearing glasses, but you don't see the light
Yeah,
reflection because I've employed the technologies or the concepts behind light reflection, right? Light always reflects. If you have light in front of you, well, it's going to reflect back into the camera.
yeah,
So you want
yeah,
to make sure that you have it angled and further away, and it's bright enough so even if it's 4 feet away from you, it can still light you up properly. So again, a lot of different elements that go into setting up that setup.
And the
So,
shadows back here.
and the shadows behind you, right? Because the light is in a specific
Oh,
area, and that's
I did.
that's
I
putting
moved
that
my
lighting.
lighting and it's like, yeah, I didn't look at it very well before I turned the camera on.
It's all good, but that's where I help, right? So I've done a few different things. Like I mentioned, I have a 5-day home studio rehab challenge. I have an 8-week course that I go even deeper into. And but if people don't have that much time, then I help them one on one and get their studio set up within basically a week or two. So those are some of the
Awesome.
things. So the first thing that I ask is, hey, let's figure out what your room situation looks like. Hey, where do you have the windows? Where are the doors? What do you want to show in the shot? And 6 years ago video, I had these two big windows right up behind me because I was facing, away from the windows, but those
Right.
windows were in the shot in my camera. So again, I had to redo my entire room to focus on, okay, where is the best setup look like? And I even
Yeah.
put this wall up because I like this wood wall look. So I put these wood panels on there, but because they were so flat, they were giving me echo. So then I had to break up that
Oh,
echo, and I added these different posters on the wall so that I wouldn't have as much
whoa.
echo
Look
coming
at
through.
those lights.
So again,
That's
it's all a
awesome.
science, right? It's all science and physics put together so that you can look good on camera.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. All right. Tell people again how they can get a hold of you. I see our time's getting real close here. I know
Absolutely.
you've got more meetings going on.
Absolutely, Ellis. Thank you so much again for the opportunity to coming and sharing my story, my journey, and my passion. If people want to learn more and connect with me more, you can head on to homestudiomastery.com and then learn jump onto my 4-point assessment for free. And then if they're interested in the book, they can go to homestudiobook.com, get a signed copy for me, or you can look up on Amazon 7 Stages of Home Studio Evolution to get a book in a couple of days, or you can download it through Kindle. So those are the different ways that you can connect with me.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. It truly is my honor that you've come here and helped us out just a little bit with the lights, and we'll definitely have to have you back and do maybe a little more in depth or find out when you've got some trainings going on. So,
Absolutely.
all right,
Thank you,
thank
Ellis.
you, and thank you, my audience, for being here on Wisdom on the Front Porch, and we'll see you next time. If you're in Idaho, stop at Boise at Barbecue for Life. They are the best barbecue and vegan food. Amazing food. All right. We'll see you all. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining us today on Wisdom on the Front Porch with your host, Ellis Kirkpatrick. You can find us on our website, wisdomonthefrontporch.com, see previous episodes of the podcast, and view issues of the magazine. Did you know you can submit questions, leave reviews, or suggest topics? You can also tell us where your favorite front porch location is and what it means to you. We hope you gain value and insight from today's or previous talks. We appreciate your support for us so we can continue to provide value and expertise to you and others. Subscribe to Wisdom on the Front Porch magazine and join in next week when we bring you another great insight into the world of entrepreneur culture and lifestyle. Make today a great day. Always believe that something wonderful is going to happen.